Gwan masses, Dappa here, and welcome back to the One Name Podcast. Um, Dappa on a lone wolf mission today. Uh, Hot Skull Edge doing some Hot Skull things. So they have to go over the last round of matches in the World Cup here before the group stage, and we had plenty of surprises. And then we're going to talk about, of course, the consequences of some of these matches, and I'll give a full table of how I hope things to play out. Probably not how I expect. But before we get into that, I want to give a big congratulations to JC Jamaica College. They win the Manning Cup in the penalty shootout. Um, my father is an old KC boy, and JC, we have a lot of connections to my nephew, them. My sister used to teach there, so no hard feelings there. It was a long, hard fought season that I tried to keep up with as best I could. So hopefully those players move on to bigger and better things. Maybe they touch the JPL and get some opportunities elsewhere and help grow the Jamaica program. But again, congrats to JC on their Madden Cup win. Things nice right now. The Ligani Wapping area. Anyways, moving on, we could go into some of these World Cup results. So starting on Tuesday, we had, which was a decider of who went on to the next round between Ecuador and Senegal. Really hard fought game, but they did it for Sadio Mane and Koulibaly, who has been having a very rough season at Chelsea. The man that bought him got fired, so it's a change in system. It's now two at the back, and he's not really the first choice in that scenario. But he came up chumps here for Senegal and put his team through to the knockout round, first time in a long time. I'm very proud of them. I always love the black team. Them doing well. It's sorry it came at the cost of another black team, but I saw it go. On the other hand, we had Netherlands taking on Qatar. Thanks for hosting, I guess, but they didn't really show any personality of themselves. They didn't leave an impression, and they kindly eased themselves out of the way. That boy Gakpo again. Every time he score, theme price going up now exponentially. So we're at the point now where every time he scores, there's another 15, 20 million to theme price. But he's looking very, very good. So, Ten Hag has an eye. That's all we can get out of that. But yeah, so Netherlands and Senegal through there out of Group A. Group B, we had England versus Wales. Plenty of changes there on the England side. Finally get some game time for Foden. Wales, I think they lost Beale at halftime, but listen, man, it was the Rashford show. He looked electric. England now has a selection issue more so than what they had before. You have Saka who's on 2 goals. Rashford is on 3 goals. Foden got 1 now. Grealish has 1. Sterling has 1. So it's depth. They have it. Hopefully Southgate uses it. And truthfully, I hope Mason Mount never touches the field again. But that's just me. Moving on from there, we had the big decider between US and Iran. We were expecting tension, but it turned out to be more of a hard-fought professional display. No red cards, barely any fight really from both teams. From the game start, actually, the only team that was pressing it was the one that seemed like they were going to win, and the ones that seemed like they wanted it more, and that was US. Iran was on a bend not break philosophy, if you quote Mr. Bill Belichick. Wasn't really sure what they were trying to do there. USA stole it with Captain America himself. Another Chelsea player performing, more on that later, but they seemed like they wanted it and they made it through. Wales just weren't good enough. They were just, as I said, happy to be there, happy to make it. I thought they were going to put up more of a fight. and put some points and maybe have US in their back pocket. But Bale did what he was supposed to do. He took them to the Euros, took them to the World Cup, scored in both. That man deserves a statue, but I feel like at this point it's time to probably retire and leave that behind. Maybe push for the next Euros, but I think this is it. He did everything that he's supposed to. But yeah, England and US made it through there. So, you know, as expected for anybody that was unbiasedly making that group before. The next group, France pretty much had already qualified, so they put out their B and C squad versus Tunisia. I guess they kind of expected them to roll over, but truthfully, as any coach is just looking for someone to make an impression. No one really did. I'd say maybe Saliba, but now that we in the business end of the tournament, he won't get any game time. I'm surprised he didn't started Varane. I don't like that at all because Varane, where tissue them when they make out. So Varane as protected as possible. But he only played 45. He came off. But Tunisia, upset. Not the full strength squad, but it doesn't matter on the record. Record says that Tunisia beat France in the World Cup. And from here on out, France can't lose if they want to win. So if they do end up winning, very much so like Brazil, if they do end up winning the tournament, they'd go unbeaten to the end. And the only team that would say that they beat them is Tunisia. So a great showing by them. I wish Bravery got a little bit more game, but that says something more of maybe how he practiced and the quality of his teammates than him, which says something to me. I don't think he has much of a future in Man U's midfield at the moment. Maybe, sell him, put a hard clause in there for a buyback, just like how Real Madrid does. And put a clause in there that if you're going to sell to any of our rivals, we get 30% or something like that. But let him free. Like, I don't see it. You can't just be holding on to people like that. The other game had Denmark versus Australia. Denmark, much like with Turkey at the Euros, was everyone's dark horse. The redemption story after everything that happened with Ericsson and all of that. We're expecting some kind of spark. They have a decent enough squad, but there was nothing. It was toothless. I feel like out of everybody there, it seemed to me like they were in preseason form. I don't know what happened there, but Australia got their deserve. They don't have anybody of note on that team, barring the keeper, and they stole a win and they're through to the next round. So out of that group, it's France and Australia, and that's really great for them. The next group, we had Argentina taking on Poland. Poland, they were leading the group at the start of the day, but we kind of all knew that wasn't meant to be. They came out, they were fairly negative themselves. Just kind of sat back and took the beating. It's just sad to see. You know what I mean? But whatever. It ended up paying off for them. Argentina got the win. Messi being carried again, missed a penalty. Anytime, and this is, if anybody don't feel like we're a Messi fan, I appreciate Messi. There's a while during the Ronaldo Messi debate that, I hated him. But I appreciate what he does and the great player he is. He's one of the GOATs, one of the greatest of all time. And I went through my generation seeing them. But if you need a clutch penalty, that is not the man to give the ball. You give it to anybody else. He's just, when the full spotlight burning down, when you have 1 billion people watching you, it just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? As bad as Pinaldo is, he ain't missing that. He destroying that ball. Not the little timid effort that Messi gave. But it didn't matter in the end. Argentina did the job. They took care of business. In the other game, it was the Saudis versus Mexico. Now, after the high that the Saudis have with beating Argentina in their first game. They dominated and lost to Poland, and then got shocked by Mexico. They couldn't take care of business. I was hoping, a Middle East team would make it out, but it wasn't meant to be. Mexico beat them, and even though Poland was being negative over there, they still scraped through. So it's going to be Argentina and Poland out of that group. Yesterday, Thursday, we had Canada versus Morocco. That Morocco team is good, man. They're good. They're what we thought Turkey and what we thought Denmark was going to be. Like if you look at that squad top to bottom, they have quality in every area. Now, not maybe not top quality, but have notable names: Roman Saiz, Hakimi, Ziyech, and Nasiri. Like these are quality players, and all of them have been involved in their goal contributions in the tournament. So they're a dangerous team. I might have them for an upset, but we'll see. Canada got a tough group, man. And I wanted better for them as CONCACAF champions, but when you don't take your chances, there was a very weak Belgium team that you should have beat, and that would have given them the confidence to maybe have done better versus Croatia. But things play out how they play out. Like at the end of the tournament, you can only look at the results, and that's a true reflection of who you are. They lost all 3 games, so it is what it is. But they did really well. I feel like they'll do themselves proud. This is the second time they've made it to a World Cup, and they ended up scoring. They had that penalty with Alphonso Davies. He missed, but then he came back and he made sure he made up for it. So again, it's mission accomplished. Very similar to Wales. They got the goal. They played really well. Brave football. I wish they were there over like a side like Poland, but it's a results thing, and they're homeward bound. On the flip side, you had Croatia and Belgium. Boring game. Terrible. Boring game. It was more comedic than entertaining, and that was because all eyes were on KDB. Now, I had mentioned earlier, we had Messi, who is not the person you want to take a penalty with. KDB, like, for being probably the best attacking midfielder in the world, this tournament did him no good. Some of his comments in the press, like, you're the talisman for a country. You're the captain. You know what I mean? Like, even the last World Cup, he was sharing the spotlight with Eden Hazard. This was all you. And he was saying some things. I was looking like, I guess he's a realist. But that's not what I really want to hear from, the guy. You imagine if you go into a tournament and Messi, like, think of Messi talking like that, or Ronaldo, or Neymar. Like, that's how big he is. And I didn't like some of his comments that he was making. And then he put up like 2 stinkers of a games, the first 2 games, and then he had a good game this one. I'll be completely truthful with that. Like he looked good this game, but the stinkers definitely left a bad taste in my mouth coming into this game. And then they started with maybe the wrong players. Good formation. They were getting attacking opportunities. And they had Mertens up there. They had to get him off the field and put on Lukaku. And Lukaku had probably one of the worst games I've seen him play. Like, he was bad at Man U at times, but I feel like that was more of our system. He wasn't getting fed enough. We had 2 wingers that were trying to score more. They were trying to feed him. But he was getting fed. And he was folded. Like, you ever crush up paper yet and then put water upon it and you just see kind of, that was Lukaku on there. Like, he looked bad. And him breaking down after the final whistle, kind of, like, I could just tell, like, when you in your own head after a while, like, there was three or four opportunities where he was in 10 yards or less to the goal, and he was bumbling off his thigh, bumbling off his knee. Like, you only needed one. And it was a 0-0 draw, and you went home. You needed anything. And you as a striker, that's on your shoulders. Hopefully he brushes it off. But yeah, definitely feel bad for Big Rom. You know what I mean? Like that's he's a black player and I respect him. So it's just rough. That to me though is the end of the golden generation that Belgium had, and I'd say golden in exclamation and quotation marks because you didn't win anything, and that sounds very similar to me than like England's golden generation. England had, you know what I mean, they had the Ballon d'Or winning Michael Owen, they had Bex, they had Gerrard, they had Lampard, they had Scholes. You know what I mean? In the back, you had Rio, you had Sol Campbell, you had John Terry, you had Ashley Cole, you had, you know what I mean? Like, keep us, like think of that team, the amount of names that roll off the tongue like that. That squad right there is phenomenal. Like, any of them defenders can start right now, like in their prime versus what England has right now can start. And they won nothing. And it's the same thing for Belgium. Belgium had, the best keeper in the world. At one point, they had two of the best midfielders in the world, top five. They had the best striker in the world. The only thing they didn't have was the best CDM, but they had some good defenders. They had Munier, which was a decent shout for a right back. So they had enough. I feel like 2018 was their chance, but they didn't win anything. Nothing at all. So just a waste to me. I expect a couple of these players to kind of step aside, even though some of them are either on the cusp of 30 or just hitting 30. But I think some of them are done. So, it's time for the next generation. Hopefully, just like with England, they inspire the next generation to be better. But only time can tell and we can see. But yes, out of that group, Morocco ended up topping the group. So shout out to them, another African team, with Croatia coming second, the second place team from the last World Cup. Moving on to the next group, we had the first big shock for me. So Germany was versus Costa Rica, and that was for all the marbles, right? And Germany takes an early lead, while simultaneously we had Japan versus Spain. This Spain team, which I think ain't worth nothing, but Spanish media, I have a lot of Latin friends and Hispanic friends. And they one team them love almost as much as the Argentina team is the Spain team. For obvious reasons. Them speak Spanish, cool. But that 7-0 fooled everybody. They aren't 7-0 good and Costa Rica is 7-0 bad. So ever since then I've been looking at them like, okay, you get hot. You get hype up, but then they believe the hype too much. And they aren't as good as everybody thought. They almost went home. But whatever. So the game going on simultaneously. They score, Germany score, them and Germany going through. Game keeps going. Who scored first? I want to say, let's say Costa Rica score, and then Japan score, and then Costa Rica and Japan score. And so at that point, you had Costa Rica leading. No, yeah, Japan leading and Costa Rica second. You had Germany and Spain going through. Now, let me tell you, for about 3 minutes right there, from about the 70th minute to the 73rd minute, when both of them scores were 2-1, let me tell you, I don't know no Obia man. But if I did, would I call them? Because that would have been perfection. All of this European elitism would have been gone out the window. But I couldn't get both, so I took one. Japan hold on for them win. Germany turned their game around and ended up winning 4-2. Kai Havertz, another Chelsea man, as I mentioned, had a good game, scored 2, was the unhappiest man of the match you ever see. But it wasn't enough. So Japan ended up going through with Spain, who they beat, and Japan ended up topping the group. Nobody that built a bracket beforehand, other than somebody who were really Japanese, would not have expected that, especially because of what Spain did in that first game. Just completely unexpected. But yes, really, really great result right there. And then the last games that were today, another, I'd say was an upset. One was an upset and one made me upset. So first we had South Korea versus Portugal. Going on at the same time was Uruguay versus Ghana. No, my African brothers. I don't know if anyone I listen to this podcast, but I hope he catch some on it. But when the Guyanese, man, I don't hear nothing more from them again. I don't hear it. Y'all had 12 years to avenge the result that happened. No, Suarez said something which we all knew, but we all kind of ignored. Suarez said, they make me the villain because I saved my team and I slapped the ball out of the goal. I got red carded, so I got punished for my actions. I did not make them miss the penalty. Truer words I haven't heard in a long time. And he's completely correct. We all forget that, yes, Suarez slapped the ball out of the goal. But the penalty after they missed, and again in this game, early on, they had the opportunity to make amends. And Mr. Ayew stepped up and kicked the ball like him nana uncle. And the keeper could have saved it with one hand. It was, my friend described it as, you kick and hope the keeper jumped the wrong way. There's no conviction, no purpose in the kick. Kick and hope. It was that from there my spirit just broke. Like I was more excited I can't say more. I was as excited for this game as I was the USA Iran game. Like I was expecting blood and kick down and war, fight. The only fight we saw in this game was after the final, which the whole a year ago I played them, they don't want to fight the referee. But the Ghana man, it just wasn't there. It wasn't there. It's just disappointing, But yeah, them get a 2-0. Suarez get an assist and a fantasy goal involvement, but should have get a boot in his face. But either way, two of them gone home, and he's retired now for all intents and purposes. In the other game, it was Korea versus Portugal, and I had no faith in this Korea team. But between Son and him bridging them figure out Son and the 5 Kims, them figure out a way and them steal a victory at the last minute versus Portugal and found their way into the last 16, man. So them and Portugal through. There's a little handbags where they'd go on with Ronaldo and the Korean man. Them somebody start try to rush him off of the field. And at first, it looked like he was pissed at the coach for getting him substituted, something us Man U fans know very, very well. But he said it was something the Korean player told him. They tried to rush him, and he was like, who are you to talk to me, or whatever. But leave that alone, that's not my business. But yeah, both Korea and Portugal through. So Son lives to fight on. And then the last games, well, at first we had Serbia versus Switzerland. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't watching that shit. And that was a better game to watch, but Brazil were there. So I was watching the Brazil-Cameroon game. I'm there again for my African brothers. Brazil put out them full rotation B squad. I think the only first team where they played was, I want to say, well, you can't say Fred and Rodrigo, but Militao? Maybe. But yeah, pretty much a full rotation from Brazil. No excuses though. It was a year and a half before since Brazil last lost the game. And that's all Cameroon and the Cameroonians will take back to them. If, again, the same scenario as France, if Brazil goes through and wins the whole tournament, Cameroon can go and say, we are the only team that beat them within the last 2 years. They did themselves proud. It was a really hard-fought game. I saw more heart in this game than I saw in the Ghana game. And that man, again, mentioned it last episode, but that man, Abubakar, yeah, him get the red card for take off him shirt, but listen, man, I did the same thing. And him hold up him shirt, I'm sure say, yo, Mo Salah, you can never do this. Is it? Like, kick with them man there. It's just a great job, did his country proud. Just did his country proud. So very, very happy there for the Cameroonians on that. That was a special win there. But it just wasn't enough. Serbia and Switzerland game. Again, that was a better game. A lot of old world, old tribes of Nordic men. I feel them kind of squad feud that them did have a go on with. It was a good game, man. Back and forth. Switzerland start out the scoring, and Serbia bunks with 2-1, and Switzerland bunks back with 2-1. Switzerland go through with Brazil. So, really, really exciting last round. A lot of surprises. A lot of games you can take with a grain of salt. As a Brazil fan, I wouldn't say I was worried, but it's the same way as my brother who's a France fan. You're looking at it and you're saying, man, I wish somebody would have showed something to kind of step up, to kind of make the first team a little bit more, a little bit more fighting at the first team. But never really work out that way there. It's cool still, but, really need Neymar back. I would have loved if, would have seen him, more hear a report like all tomorrow say, him start run, and then by like Monday, I think the game is Monday. I'm gonna check on that right now, but I hope hopefully he back in full training by like Sunday, and then we get him back on the field for this game, because I don't want to take any chances. But yes, speaking of which, let me go through my bracket. Let me see here. All right. So, round of 16. So, first game we are going to look upon is Netherlands versus USA. Now, of course, I have Netherlands going through there. The score, I see this maybe being 2-1. I do see USA scoring. They do seem to just have that fight in them. So Netherlands going through there. Next game we have Argentina versus Australia. I'm not even going to fool myself there. It's going to be an Argentina win. I see that maybe going 2-0, maybe even 3. Australia did them country proud. I saw all the celebrations for them going through. So, yeah. Japan, Croatia. Now, this is probably one of the more close games in the next round. I'm gonna go upset here. I'm gonna say Japan. No disrespect to Croatia, but I'm gonna say a 1-0 game. Just a 1-0, right? Brazil, Korea. First team Brazil. I can see this being like a 3-1 game. They've been fighting a lot their career, but Brazil, like a lot of the stats that we gave up our first couple of shots, a lot of the pressure in, that drop off from Casemiro to Fabinho is substantial. It's just not the same. Next match we have England versus Senegal. No. Listen to me. Boy, every time I see this Senegal team, I wish Mane was there. I really wish he was there. Because it would be a different... If Mane was there, I have Senegal winning this game. But because he's not, I have England. Score for this one... I think England are still a little fickle at the back, and I think they get nervous. So I'm gonna go 2-1. But it might be one of those like 1-1 till like the 88th minute, because England don't know how to score. France, Poland. I have no faith in this Poland team, so I have France beating them 3-0. Um, Mbappe just gonna play with these men. You saw the highlight when he did a body fake on a defender. The defender chopped down on the ground. Yeah, nah, he different gravy. Morocco versus Spain. You know what? I don't like Spain. So, you know, I'm gonna try to tiki taka to death, but I think Morocco has enough quality for steal a 1-0. That's what I'm gonna leave it as. Um, Portugal, Switzerland. It's a final game for this round. I'm gonna go Portugal. I'm not gonna lie to myself. I'm gonna give them the 2-0. Bruno goal and assist. All right, so then there you have it. So going through, so my next round would be my quarterfinals. It would be Netherlands versus Argentina, Japan versus Brazil, England versus France, and Morocco versus Portugal. Now I'm gonna kill the podcast, but we're gonna save that till after this round done, so we have something for talk about. You know, I just waste out the thing. You see what I say? But that's it for my World Cup review. I'd love for you to, hit us on the 1EM IG. Let me know what your picks are gonna be, and we can compare. We're just gonna go round by round. We're gonna space it out. Last little comments on the other sports that we have going on. My Lakers are looking good. Anybody out there? My Lakers coming. We started off trash, but our record since then has been decent. Anthony Davis looking like an AD. You feel what I'm saying? Like he looked like how he's supposed to look, like one of the top offensive power forward / centers in the league. So I'm very proud of that. Listen, man, I don't have any teams that's contending right now, but that's how I like it on the basketball front. I don't think I watched a game this year after how bad the Lakers were, but something nice in that aspect. Other than that, Cowboys being the Cowboys, we'll see how they go this Sunday again, and we keep it going from there. Please remember again, share it, hit us on IG, Twitter. We on there. I'm active on both of them, but definitely the IG is where you can mostly get in contact with me. We are on Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, which we had some really good rankings on, and Apple Podcasts, which everybody seems to love. But we can definitely get on more platforms if that works for you. But we have the major ones. What more do you need? YouTube community. I'll try to get a little bit more consistent with putting stuff over there. But if you're listening, you want to listen on YouTube, or you got YouTube Premium or whatever it's called, I got you. But yeah, share in your group chats, share on WhatsApp, send it to everybody, Facebook, wherever, Parlor, if Kanye never buy it. But yeah, thanks again for all the support. This is Dappa again. Peace.